Bill Sander remembers the moment very clearly. It was the first time he had ever hit a golf ball. From that moment on, I was absolutely addicted to the game, Bill said. In 1968, at age 12, Bill began working as a caddy at Inglewood Country Club in Kenmore, Washington. And in 1971, he joined the club as a junior member for a fee of $7.50 a month, and the floodgates opened. In 1973, he won the Washington State Junior and played on the golf team at Shorecrest High School. In '74, he won the first of 3 consecutive Seattle Am titles and celebrated by going back to Inglewood and playing until dark. At 6'2", 170 pounds, Sander had a golfer's build, and his on-course demeanor was determined and businesslike. It was in 1976 that Bill exploded onto the regional and national golf consciousness. He won his 3rd Seattle Am and won the PNGA Men's Amateur. When he decided to enter that summer's U.S. Amateur, Sander told Inglewood's PGA head pro, Billy Derrickson, "I'm leaving for school at the University of Houston, but I'm going to stop off in LA and win the U.S. Am." Sander kept his promise. In that final match, the unheralded Sander cruised to an 8-6 victory, the widest margin in the U.S. Amateur since Jack Nicklaus won it 15 years earlier. Sander's out-of-nowhere victory in the '76 U.S. Am opened golf's doors for him. He accepted invitations to play in the World Cup, the Walker Cup, the Masters, the U.S. Open, and the PGA Tour's Sea Pines Heritage Classic. At the '77 Masters, Sander slept in the fabled Crow's Nest quarters above the Augusta National Clubhouse and played a practice round with Graham Marsh, Gary Player, and Jim Colbert. Sander qualified for the PGA Tour in 1978, and although he had some modest success, he never felt the same about the game. Amateur golf was so much fun, he recalls. I was around such a good group of players, and we used to go out and just play golf because we loved it so much. Sander moved to Florida and played on the tour for 15 years, his final year being 1993. He moved back to the Northwest in 2006 to be closer to family, and built his current house with his own hands. Now when I see Inglewood Golf Club, it looks like a park, he says. I love it. I don't think I would have done anything in this game if it wasn't for the opportunity I had there.
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you. Is that story about the putt stripe is true? Do you remember that?
Yeah, there were a few balls clanking off the cars out there. You had to find the good golf balls. That was part of the
secret. Well, that's a challenge, yeah.
And after 2 or 3 of them, I think some of the guys out of the putts would come out and, can you knock it off a little bit? But, we had a good time out there, putts banging away.
Well, you had a good time banging away out here too at Inglewood. That story about your, what was this, $75 to play for forever all the golf you wanted as a junior member out here, whatever it was. But this place has to mean a lot.
It's like a homecoming here. I have met so many of my old golfing buddies, and Inglewood, I spent, I can't tell you how much time, more time than I was home. I was out here either caddying, that's really how I started coming out here, is caddying. Then I got a junior membership, $7.50 a month, which was amazing.
Yeah.
To play one of the best golf courses in the Northwest. And the other thing about it is we always had so many really great players. You mentioned Steve Johnson, Mike Farrington, J.D. Klein, Jim Sparkman, my brother, Jeff Marsh, Scott McPherson. I've seen a lot of these fellas out here tonight.
Yeah, you've renewed a few friendships, haven't you? That's
it's really been something. But all of those guys were really, really good. Any given day, somebody was shooting very low.
Yeah, I think I saw a quote. You said if you could shoot in the '60s with these guys, you weren't you weren't going to come out on the plus side of anything.
I left out a guy, and I shouldn't leave him out. Jim Brady. He was the guy you wanted on your team. The guy for like 2 years shot between 68 and 64 out there, and he was tough to beat, that's for sure.
You mentioned your brother also. There's a great story that I've heard from, I think, 2 or 3 different people about one day in the morning, Dick shoots his career round out here of 65, and that's 8 under on this place, and that's pretty strong. So here comes little brother, and in the afternoon, you decide to go one better than that, right? That has to be so much fun. That has to be so much fun.
It was, I don't know where the pins were that day, but they were probably in some pretty good spots. My brother could really go. I mean, that was our low round, 65, and we were like, oh, way to go. It was an amazing day. But it just didn't last that long.
You know, in talking with Dick, I had a great conversation with him on the phone. What impressed me most was the fun you guys had playing this game and getting your little competitions going, and the stakes couldn't have been too high.
Well, again, there were so many really good friends and such good competition out here that we had a blast. The quality of golf was fantastic, and yeah, golf didn't get much funner than that.
Well, looking at that resume, as a kid, as the U.S. Amateur Champion, you get to go play in the Masters, you stay in the Crow's Nest, you get to go to Butler Cabin, and with the Masters Championship that just concluded so fresh in our mind, I'm curious about your memories of that, and I know you were just a kid, it was a while ago, but it has to be vivid, it has to just stick with you.
It was probably the most fun I ever had playing in a golf tournament. And I can remember, it was just such a thrill to be there, number one. And I thought, how early can I get there? You know, when can I show up? And they probably made a mistake, and they said 10 days. You had your 10 days before the tournament started. And I was there 10 days before the tournament started. And staying in the Crow's Nest, and I mean, I come down, and the whole place is mine. Augusta National. And I can remember eating a beautiful breakfast, and I wanted about a bag of balls. And so they give me this bag of balls, and they're brand new Titleist golf balls, and that's impressive enough. And they said, just go over the hill and you'll see the range. And I walked over the hill, and I thought there was a putting green down there, but I didn't see where to hit balls. But where he did hit balls was that it wasn't a putting green, it was the driving range. But I can remember there wasn't a divot on that driving range, and I had these brand new Titleists, and so I don't want to. I was kind of a gouger, took big divots, and I'm trying to pick them off the grass. I don't want to scar otherwise. And then I'm sort of hitting these brand new Titleists real thin, and I'm kind of scarring them up. So I chipped a few out there and didn't play.
What was your first? I should have asked you Rick that too, and Pat. But what was your first round at Augusta like? Just to be thinking about walking on that fairway.
I got to play with Raymond Floyd. He was the defending champion, and I was so nervous. Nerves have always been tough for me to control. And I just decided, okay, tee it as high as you can and just swing away. And I smoked one right down the middle, and I hit a wedge about 10 feet, almost made the putt. And somehow, I became more nervous on the second hole. And hit one, oh gosh, they were lucky to find it, but like 75 yards to the right. So dogleg left. Anyway, I hung in there, and amen corner, I went bogey, double bogey, triple bogey. First time through amen corner, and parred in for 80. So pretty much down the road, but I came back the next day with a really good round 69, made the cut on the nose, and was low amateur that year. So it was.
That is a fabulous comeback. I heard that, by the way, we're talking about Bill's long drive prowess, and I guess you may be the reason that there's no long drive contest on the PGA Tour anymore, because you won it every time that they paid money.
The tournaments, but I did pretty good.
Well, good for you. Yeah, what was the MCI,
yes.
the long drive competition, and they put a little cash in your pocket, so that's good.
The guys out there did not take it very seriously, but I sort of did take it serious because you could hit 2 balls and make $3,500. That's pretty good money. And so I had a crazy driver that was extra long and no loft, and I'd warm up with it. And these guys are going, we're here for the tournament. Go ahead and warm up for your long drive.
Well, yeah, so but your long driving ability is very well known. But J.D. Klein called me just a few minutes ago, just before dinner, and he says, "Don't let anybody kid you. This guy had the best short game from 100 yards in that I have ever seen." So there was a little bit of touch involved in there too.
Well, driving it long is a little bit of a two-edged sword. Swinging, gripping it and ripping it, and try to go find it. You end up in some funny spots and you miss some greens, so it was sort of a necessity to have a good short game.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right? So there you go.
And actually, you mentioned Steve Johnson. My freshman year in high school, I was shooting 5 or 6 over par. Sophomore year, a few strokes better, and then my junior year, I shot under par in every match. And I had this big improvement, and it was because Steve and he got some lessons from Paul Runyon. And I remember him showing me kind of what he had learned. And we sat back there in the back putting green and would chip and putt, 18 holes for a hot dog, or 36 holes for a hot dog. And I lost a lot of hot dogs to him, but eventually I won a few of them.
Yeah, that deal probably evened out very nicely. I understand you went to the Bowling Classic here a couple of years ago and reconnected with some of the acquaintances that you had on tour. What was that like for him?
Well, it's always fun to see your old buddies that you played a lot of golf with, and I've been sort of out of the game. I haven't even made a golf swing in 6 years because my back is pretty bad. But to see old friends that were still going at it is a lot of fun.
So we haven't played in 6 years at least, but can you tell me where the fish are biting on Hood Canal?
I can tell you that.
Yeah. So
it's one of my. I've always loved the fish. And I live in just outside Belfort now, and I'm looking down on the Hood Canal, and I found a few spots where the sea run cutthroat trout might be ready to take a fly, and my sister and her husband have a place. It's out by can't think of south. Allen, just past Allen. Anyway, they happen to have some of the best fishing right in their backyard. So I like to go out there and chase them a little bit.
Good for you. And I also heard that you are somewhat of an artist.
A wannabe artist. I'm always seem like I'm, painting. I used to do these fish prints that were quite cool. Geotaku, where you actually catch a fish and paint the fish, put some fabric over it, and becomes sort of a fossil image. And I actually tried to, when I was living in Tallahassee, I tried to sell a few of those, and I've never sold any of them. I told a friend of mine about it, and that's all he does. He makes a room.
So you had a good idea. Good idea.
Maybe I wasn't.
Yeah, you're talking about being not golfing for 6 years. I do want to share your Masters experience, though. Mr. Steve Rule explained to me that he throws a Masters party every year. So this year it was all screwed up because they're supposed to have the afternoon Masters party, And they moved all the tee times up till, so the TV coverage starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. And, well, the party's supposed to start at 1, and now they got to call all the guests and get everybody there early in the morning. Rule tells our buddy Bill, coffee's going to be going at 7 o'clock. So,
well, normally it's the last groups tees off like at noon or so.
Yeah.
I get over there about 10. I like to see the whole thing. And, all of a sudden I got to be there at 6 o'clock. So I call up Steve and I say, can I get there like at 5:30? You going to be up? And he said, come anytime you want. But he put on a good show. It's so much fun to. I don't play golf, but I still love watching the tournaments, especially some of the tournaments that you play,
sure.
The courses you played, and it's always a treat just to watch that tournament.
Well, I think that particular story is evidence that when we get the passion, when we get the bug, the passion is going to be there for our lives.
Right.
And I am so thrilled to have you here and meet you, and I want you to be sure to have the opportunity to tell us any reflections that you have, or talk about any people or events that stand out in your great career.
Well, I was a kid that fell in love with this game, and I had support everywhere I looked. I had support in my family. I had support from Inglewood out here. I had a great place to play, like Rick was saying. It's so nice just to have a club to play at. And I fell in love with the game, and to play this great game and just to go have fun with it is good enough, but to try to make a living out of it, or to make a living out of it, you're a lucky person.
Well, we're lucky to have you in the Pacific Northwest Hall of Fame. Bill Sander,
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Congratulations.